Content warning. This series will discuss topics that may bring up painful experiences for you. Please take the time to surround yourself with good medicines. If need be, pause the playback and go for a walk, stretch, have a glass of water, and come back to the show when you feel comfortable. Welcome to the Métis Speaker Series. I'm your host, Darian Kovacs. On this podcast series, we will be exploring learning, healing, and rebuilding within the Métis community. Our goal is to create awareness of and generate discussion about Métis issues, as well as how to heal from and move forward in a healthy way. We hope to reduce Métis invisibility in BC through the personal stories from our Métis community members. The show is brought to you by the Métis Nation of British Columbia and Jelly Marketing.
I couldn't help myself. You gave me everything.
Welcome to another episode of the Métis Speaker Series. This is a special episode as we have two guests today instead of the normal one, which is so lovely. So if, starting with you, Susie, if you want to introduce yourself and your role.
So hello there. Yeah, my name is Susie Hooper. I have several hats, and I have the hat of Métis Advisor for Canadian Partners Against Cancer. And I'm here with Talia in that role, and I've had that position since 2018. I am also the Northwest Regional Director for Métis Nation British Columbia, and I've been on the board for Métis Nation British Columbia since 2012 in an elected position. I am a proud Métis woman with my roots going back to Manitoba, and I am a mother, auntie, sister, proud granny of 3 Métis children, and mother of a cancer survivor. And that's kind of why we're here this week.
Lovely. Thank you for that introduction. Talia.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Talia Pfefferle. My professional role is I'm the director for the First Nations Inuit and Métis Cancer Strategy Team for the Canadian Partnership Against Cancer, where I support and work alongside partners in progressing the strategy for cancer control. Me, who I am as a person, I am also a very proud Métis citizen of the Métis Nation Saskatchewan, originally from Treaty 6 territory and homeland of the Métis, but I currently reside in the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Chippewa, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee, and many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples, also known as Toronto, Ontario. I am an extremely proud mother of 2. A son who is actually getting married this July, so I'll have a new daughter, and then a daughter who are both, my son is in Saskatchewan at the University of Saskatchewan, and my daughter is with me in Toronto.
Very cool. Thank you. CPAC, right, is the acronym. What is it? What's its history? Why does it exist? And what does it mean for us who are listening to the show right now?
I'll pass over to Talia, and then I'll add what my position is with CPAC.
Absolutely. So the partnership first came to fruition in 2016, and it was originally designed to be stewards of the Canadian Strategy for Cancer Control. What does that mean? It was really set in motion to bridge gaps in partnerships and relationships, support cancer agencies, organizations, governments around the country, to convene, share knowledge, and advance the priorities within the strategy. It's evolved since 2006. There was a refresh in 2019, primarily because the original strategy didn't really reflect to an extent of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis cancer priorities or equity-deserving populations. So in the refresh, they engaged First Nations, Inuit, and Métis partners, governments, organizations across the country, and came up with a new strategy that include 3 people-specific priorities. That's primarily where my team works in supporting our First Nations and Inuit Métis partners. Again, advancing the cancer continuum from prevention to palliative to survivorship.
So when we see like the Canadian Cancer Society and BC Cancer Society, are you kind of like the glue in between them, or the kind of the bridges in between them to get some more synergy?
I wouldn't use the term glue. We're there definitely for what the partner requests or need, if that's something that is identified as a need. say, for example, if MNBC came to us and said, it would be really great to have support in bridging a connection or relationship between Alberta Health Services. We're really interested in knowing how they do the work that they do. Or I would say BC Cancer, but MNBC already has a really great relationship with BC Cancer. So I'll use the example of Alberta. Then we would absolutely find ways to support that request because it's all partner-led. That's really, really the heart of CPAC is the partner relationships. So it's led by partners. If that's something that the partner needs, then yeah, absolutely.
And your role, Susie?
So, like I said, in 2018, there was a call out for advisors, Inuit, Métis, and First Nations advisors. And so it was a process that I went through, interviews, resume, that sort of process. And it looked very exciting. I was supported in it. And so I went forth and put my name in, applied, and got the position. And along with First Nations and the Inuit advisor. At that time, it was Leah Bill for the First Nations and Gail Turner. Right, I was going to say Fisher. Gail Turner, the Inuit advisor. And so we came on all at the same time, and we were consulted. We were asked questions. We were asked to share our knowledge, our culture, so that CPAC could bring us in as people-specific, not pan-Indigenous. So I could speak for the Métis. I could not speak for the Inuit or the First Nations, but I could say, where are they? Like, they need to be in here as well. And I know the Inuit and First Nations have done that for the Métis as well and said, okay, we can't have this discussion until the Métis are in here as well. It's been a really positive outcome for all of us, people-specific people in Canada.
And why do you think that is? Why does, again, I'm just push back on what is wrong with pan-Indigenous? Why can't it just be pan-Indigenous? Why does it need to have Métis-specific sensitivities and resources and development?
We all have our own culture, our own identity, and that has to be honored. And it is being honored now. And it's, our data is all different. We're actually not equal right now. Métis do not have health services. Inuit and First Nations have health services, and so we're working towards that. But we are on equal grounds in CPAC as far as communication, as far as reach out. We have more work to do on our data and data sovereignty for the Métis and gaining more data, collecting more data, and we're working on that. So, and I think the pan-Aboriginal approach has not worked. And it's been recognized, and so CPAC has, like I said, listened and honored that the people-specific approach opposed to the pan-Aboriginal, because it did not work.
So in kindness and love and respect, what would be your advice to, say, a booth that's at a Métis Cancer Survivors event that is handing out First Nations art pieces, assuming that they'll just work here, right? Isn't everyone the same?
Oh, it's not the same, but it happens.
Okay.
It happens quite regularly.
What's your advice to them? Maybe they don't know. Maybe they're like, oh, these are great little pieces we should hand out at our booth.
Yeah, knowledge is learned, right? And knowledge we have to share. So you don't know what you don't know. So it's up to us to educate and educate people and share our knowledge and share what we have. So it's getting better. I must say that throughout all parts of work.
It's amazing. It's really cool. Thank you for being a voice for all of us here. So the strategy, what does it look like? What are some of the things that you could share with listeners and viewers?
Yeah, so the Canadian Strategy for Cancer Control has 8 priorities across the cancer continuum. So it has priorities in prevention, screening, palliative, models of care, and then survivorship. After the 2019 refresh, there was 3 people-specific priorities that are now included in the strategy. Those are, the first priority is culturally appropriate care closer to home. Another priority is people-specific, as Susie mentioned, self-determined cancer care. And then the third priority is First Nations, Inuit, and Métis-led research and data systems, governed as well. And those were put in place, again, with collaboration and direction led by First Nations and Inuit Métis partners, governments, and organizations to really identify that there is different needs for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis cancer patients, organizations, communities that need to be addressed and looked at with a clearer lens and not just spread across the cancer continuum. Of course, those three people-specific priorities do include all aspects of the cancer continuum, but because it looks different for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people, it has to be different, and the approach has to be different in order to close those gaps within cancer care.
We had a guest share that they self-declared that they were Indigenous, specifically Métis, when they were going through their cancer experience and journey. And I asked him, I was like, what, and he said there wasn't anything that they provided at the time. And I said, if you go back and could control the system, what would you provide? And I'd love to pose that question to both of you. If you could, wave a magic wand today, as they say, and this is blue sky, and we wanted to see Métis specific, maybe cultural or traditional items that people who are going through cancer experience and have access to, what would those be?
There's a few almost simple things that could be in place and could be put in place, such as, when you check in at the hospital, are you Métis? Yes, I am. And, or even going into a hospital setting or some type of care setting, and you see a sash, you see the Métis symbol, you think, I'm okay here. I will be okay here. And for an example would be MNBC working with CPAC and First Nations Health Authority. We did artwork that was presented to the different cancer agencies. We didn't do the artwork. We commissioned the artwork out.
Oh, you didn't paint it yourself?
No,
oh,
no,
come
you
on,
wouldn't want
Susie.
that. You
Okay.
would not want that. But we had, for example, Lisa Shepherd, who's a fantastic Métis artisan. And so she did a shadow box with a pair of moccasins. And so they were at the front and center of the entrance to the cancer agency, BC Cancer Agency here in Vancouver. And so when people walked in there, and I'll say an example, and I had the permission to say it, my daughter who had going through a cancer journey, she would go there, see the moccasins, and kind of look at it and say, I'll be okay, I'm grounded. These ground me, and my culture is going to be honored here. So it provides a safe space, and those are fairly simple things to do so that you feel accepted and grounded, and that your culture will be honored in wherever you are in your journey.
So is it Cancer Words, everyone across Canada has an art piece?
No, this was a specific project in partnership with CPAC and MNBC that we did. There was 5 different centers in British Columbia that we did.
Are they all Lisa Shepherd?
3 of them are Lisa Shepherd's, and 2 are paintings, and I'm afraid I can't remember the artist.
That's okay. That's beautiful. That's so cool to know.
Yeah.
It's people can go and see that and hopefully not look forward to it, but at least know that that's there for them. It's amazing. So Talia, and you didn't even have to wave a magic wand for that.
No.
Those ones. But in addition, you'd like to see sashes as well.
Oh, like a sash. Like I know, I could say, for example, I live up north, northern British Columbia, Smithers, with Northern Health, and we are working on presenting each hospital, care home, etc., with a framed sash. So it's when people enter the building again, or somewhere in the building, there will be this framed sash so that folks know that, yep, the Métis are here, or if they are Métis in these settings, they feel grounded as well.
And even seen and heard. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So Talia, magic wand, it's handed over to you. What would you love to see?
I guess I can answer that in 2 ways. I think for me as a Métis person, I would like to see more representation just from a personal aspect. And that includes exactly what Susie just shared and talked about. We know historically within the country, there's been some colonial practices that have made the healthcare system not feel as safe for First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. So having representation and art in a hospital setting, in a cancer care setting, does create that safe space or that feeling of belonging. So I think for me, the work that MNBC is doing would be a part of what I would want from a personal level. Professionally, or my role within CPAC, the goal for me in the position that I hold is to work alongside partners across the country and all territories and all jurisdictions to ensure that the work happening is 100% self-determined, partner-led, and aligns with sovereignty within the nations that hold that space and in those territories. That's how I really see my role in this work and in CPAC. It's nation to nation. It has to be partner-led. It's not, we have to understand that CPAC, though, is formally committed to reconciliation. We do a lot of work internally. We have 3 people-specific priorities that we're stewards of. We're still a non-Indigenous organization. So our role is to really sit in a space and leave room for Métis partners, and I'll say Métis because that's what we're here talking about today, Métis partners in all territories to hold that space. And when we go back to building bridges, part of our role, a major part of our role, is influencing the cancer system in non-Indigenous spaces to also create space for Métis priorities and bridging those gaps in Métis cancer care. So that would be sort of my 2-pronged answer. I use that approach because personally as a Métis person, there's hands-on tangible things, but I can't speak on behalf of all Métis people. Even when you say people specific, at CPAC, we take the approach of it's people specific within territories as well, within jurisdictions, within regions. So we really just try to influence the system and create those spaces and make sure that we're just there as cheerleaders and support and friends. We joke around all the time. The role is making friends and supporting our friends and holding each other's hands as we walk through the journey to ensure that cancer care is equitable and accessible for all.
So I want to, for those that are watching and listening, and they are Métis and they've experienced maybe, I don't know, lack of a better term, a pan-Indigenous experience where they were maybe gifted a First Nation art piece and assume that they were, this is relevant to them, or they go into a setting, like a hospital setting or another setting where they're very proud that they make, Indigenous people feel welcome, but all the artwork is only First Nations. What's the advice that you give, and how can you empower us to be able to, give that loving advice to be like, hey, just so you know, right? Or even just to say we're at an event right now and there's a booth that only has First Nation art pieces that they're handing out as swag, right? How would you educate that person?
Well, you just have to maybe bring it to their attention, and just share what you know of who I am as a
Don't just
Métis
flip
person.
over the table. But
Gosh, no. And First Nations art's beautiful.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful, and it's got.
It's part of the history too.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we're cousins. We're kin. We're connected, and we need to work together.
Yes.
Working together will get us further. So I think, like I said earlier, we don't know what we don't know, and just sharing your knowledge and working together. I think that's the key, right?
Yeah. And on the other side, speaking of our cousins, First Nations friend in Ontario was telling me he was at this national place that was quite proud that they got First Nations art in, but they had commissioned Coast Salish artists out of British Columbia, and they're in Ontario, and they just assumed this would work, and so they then had to come alongside and be like, hey, just so you know, in Ontario, we're a different nation than this nation of the art, and so they didn't know, and so then they realized, okay, we need to not maybe pull the art out of some of these places and find artists in different regions that are First Nations. Yeah. In the same way as being Métis, our art looks different, our symbols look different.
And I think that's that's part of when I speak about the role in CPAC and where we sort of hold space is helping to identify that, like identifying within the territory that, say, this agency or the table resides, and just kindly acknowledging, hey, did you know that MNBC is actually your neighbor and this community is here? Like, might be great to meet them and have a conversation. And I go back to me referencing, we just make friends. We help people make friends because that's really the only way you can advance real change And I was taught long, long ago by an elder that the only way you can teach is with kindness. And that's the approach you have to take in order to make effective change.
And helping people learn more about their own culture and being proud. And, like many of us have just recently, found our culture. And it's a case of, Talia mentioned it, maybe not being in a safe space, not being able to acknowledge it because it's safer not to acknowledge. And so giving people the power and strength to do that is our jobs. It's our jobs.
And at the same time, they often mean well. Like that, they meant well. They'd be like, oh, they were probably so excited. Like, we got these wood blocks and they're so cute and cool. And
that could have been their first step, right? So that's a big step.
Yeah.
And you have to acknowledge that. But you can go and grow and learn beyond that.
Yeah. Maybe they'll get mini sashes for the next year's event. Or I don't know. What would be a good swag item?
Oh, gosh.
I like the lanyards.
Yeah.
The sash lanyards.
Sash lanyard. Yeah. Itchy Boy makes
I
them.
really like those.
Yeah. And like I say, the mini sash
Yeah.
is, and there's different ones. There's a harm reduction one. There's a,
Which I saw today. It's quite bright.
Yeah.
On a kind of a white edgings.
Yeah. And all the colors mean a different thing. We have sashing the warrior sashes. We have the women's sashes. There's a variety of them. So I think
is there a cancer awareness sash?
You know that?
Is that a?
Is there a cancer awareness sash?
There's a pink sash, right? Like the
there's the breast
bright-
cancer pink sash. But
Is there a breast
not
cancer pink sash?
Sorry, the ribbon.
There's the ribbon, but there's not a
Because
there's so many sashes now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you decide which sashes to frame for the? Did you pick?
We did the traditional red.
The traditional red,
sash,
yes,
yeah.
okay,
And
yeah.
put a little description as to what the different colors and
Yeah.
the uses of a sash. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there are multiple sashes. So.
Yeah, but almost nationally, that could be our national. We do have a national. We can all look to the red sash as our one connecting sash, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's, and I mean, we even have like a Terry Fox sash.
Yes, it's a wonderful one.
Terry Fox was Métis. Who knew, right?
That one's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
That's a win.
yeah, that is. And now he's going to be on the $5 bill.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if he's going to be wearing the sash.
No.
No,
He did not know he was Métis.
No, exactly. But I wonder if they would do that as a.
No, I don't think they would.
No.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Sash,
It would
especially
be
if
cool,
it
but no.
unties. Sometimes they untie though, and they fall down. You could, they get in the way sometimes. But
Yeah. No.
yeah.
That will not happen.
No. Hopes and dreams in the next 5 years. What are you looking forward to? What are you excited about? What is actually happening that maybe you could even share that's coming out and rolling out in this plan of yours?
Well, this is the first Hope and Healing Cancer Conference for MNDC.
This is so exciting.
Yeah, so the first of, I hope, many.
Yeah.
And, to bring people into this space that are on their journey or with those that are on their journey, and to empower them. Empower them. And, I mean, you could say, to end cancer, to find more cures to cancer. That's everybody's hope and dream. And, like I would say, I hope we get more screening. I hope we get more people active in screening. And, our medical system needs a bit of support and help there too. So, like 5-year dream, I mean, we just need to empower our people because we are our own advocates. And we just need to empower folks to get out there and be advocates and support those who are in their journeys.
5-year goal. Well, I think if I look at a long-term goal, and it's a goal of the strategy, but even just a goal, I think everybody would have this goal is having fewer people diagnosed with cancer, those living with cancer, better quality of life, more survivorship. How do we get there? There's gaps in cancer care. There's inequitable access to cancer. Part of the reason we have the 3 people-specific priorities. So to get to that, obviously that's probably going to take longer than 5 years, is continuing to support partners in this work. How do we support sustainability? How do we bridge those relationships where we're all accountable and responsible to do the work together to get to that long-term goal of fewer incidences and more survivorship and all of that stuff. So for me, just continuing to make friends, not just between CPAC and partners, but all of the partners and working together to achieve, better access and cancer outcomes.
Susie, any advice to other mothers out there who experience what you experienced?
just make sure you have support yourself too. And to, my daughter was an adult at that time, so, there's a different role you play there too. So you have to be there, be supportive, be strong, do some research, find those resources. They're out there. And like Talia said, connecting with your friends and other knowledge keepers out there, touch base with your elders, bring your culture, your spirits back in, and because we're walking, all our ancestors are with us, right? And they're walking along this journey with us. So allow them in, and know that they're there to help you through these different journeys. And so mine, as tough as it was okay. It was okay. We got through it. Yeah.
Anything else you want to leave with listeners and viewers today? Talia, we'll start with you, and then Susie.
I just have a huge appreciation for the work that our partners do, and specifically MNBC. Being here and being invited is such an honor and a privilege. The work that we do, and I will say the work that I do, is a lot just, standing behind partners and walking alongside them. To be included in such a beautiful event, and the first one, is just an unbelievable honor to be able to see all the work that's happening in communities with the Métis Nation, British Columbia. I can't even really express into words how much it means, and the importance of the partnership beyond just, the tangible, we've achieved these outcomes and we have these metrics and measures and good work, but really just solid friendships that I think will continue beyond this work and into different spaces. So I would just end by saying I'm extremely thankful and appreciative and really excited to the future and the work that we can continue to do together.
And Talia, this show is listened to by Métis folks right across.
Probably
Turtle
a lot
Island.
of my cousins.
Yes, exactly. Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, all over the province, people are listening, or provinces, people are listening to the show. Northwest Territories even. What do you want to say to other citizens in other provinces about an event like this, or what this means for other Métis nations?
Yeah, I think this is a really, really great event. And I know other territories, provinces, and regions are doing much of the same work and working towards events like this, or have already doing. If there's anything I could say, was keep going, keep doing this good work, because in the end, Métis voices matter, Métis experiences matter, and Métis priorities within the cancer continuum and care matter. So we just have to keep working together to achieve those positive outcomes. And hopefully, cancer won't be as impactful as it is today for Métis people.
Susie, any closing words, thoughts?
I would agree with Talia there. It's throughout Canada that this work is being done. This is the first one for Métis Nation, British Columbia, and the first one in BC this week. But other provinces have also done fantastic work, and working alongside them as the Métis advisor. I'm there. They can reach out to me, and anybody can reach out to me at any time, or whoever else may fill this position at a later date. I'll be here for a little while.
You're not leaving.
No, I'm not leaving. But it's throughout Canada, and we're all in there for the same end game. It's cultural care closer to home, people specific. The data sovereignty, we're all there for the same reason. And, it's just, I'm just grateful to have such fantastic CPAC staff to work with. Talia is amazing. And the rest of the crew at CPAC as well. They're there to walk alongside and support any of the partners that reach out.
That's amazing. Yeah. And Susie, if breast cancer awareness organizers are listening right now and they want to make a pink sash, can they reach out to you?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
For
You'd
sure.
be game? You'd be down to help them create something like that?
Anybody can reach out to me. I'm the voice for the people.
Yeah.
So just, bring me some information and I'll be your voice.
Amazing.
I'd wear a pink sash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised I haven't seen one.
Well, maybe I'm blanking out.
Might be one, yeah.
Yeah. So, Yeah, we'll get right on that for you.
Well, thank you so much for coming and being on the show and sharing your stories and teaching us more about CPAC and the work you guys are doing.
So look up the website.
Yeah.
It's got some good information.
Lovely. We'll put the website in the show notes as well.
Oh, excellent.
And any other links or resources that you can think of. But thank you for joining us on the Métis Speaker Series, and we'll see you next time on the show. Thanks, everyone. This has been the Métis Speaker Series podcast. I'm Darian Kovacs. Thanks to Métis Nation BC for making this possible. You can listen to all of our episodes, learn more about the podcast, and sign up to the Métis Nation of BC newsletter to stay up to date on Métis news at métispodcastseries.ca. You can find out more about the music we're playing by Love Life by visiting SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/lovelifeofficial, LUVLYF official, and link in the show notes for your convenience. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast listening device. See you again soon. Mina Kawapa Mitten. Thank you. Marci for listening.